Hey, buddy. Hi, Crumb. And you. Yes. Hey, bud. So it's the night before he's going in to get his neuter. And we're just going to give him some special attention, aren't we, buddy? Yeah. There's my good boy. Why are you so sweet with people but not with rats? Hmm? You want to come up? He has no idea what's about to happen, do you? No. No more of this. You have to be nice. Hey. No. Puffy, angry boy. Crumble. If you're wondering why, even though he's still not injuring Humbug as bad as he was, this is the reason he's an absolute pest. Aren't you? Leave him alone. I know. He's annoying, isn't he? So the good thing about rats is they don't have the ability to be sick, so you don't have to worry about starving them or fasting them. Before their surgeries, you can feed them as normal, which Crumble is very happy about because he would be very upset if he had to miss his dinner time right now, but you don't have to worry about fasting them or anything if they have a big surgery, which is good. So I'm just setting up his carry cage ready to go now instead of having to do it in the morning because we do have to leave quite early in the morning, so I'm making sure all of that is done, ready to go for the morning. And all we have in here is the bedding I use in their litter trays, just to make sure it's something super absorbent but also really soft for him because we don't want any beddings that's going to be rough on his wounds and things like that. So all we've got in here is the Back to Nature paper-based beddings in the bottom. And then I'm also going to put in a handful of his food for him because we do want to make sure he's eating before he leaves the vets. So we're just going to give him a little bit of food in the corner that he can eat when he starts to recover and wakes up from his surgery. I am also going to provide them with a water bottle. Obviously I'm going to take all of the water out before I give it to them, but you can actually slot this in the gaps like this and kind of prop it up. So I'm going to also make sure he has some water and a water source to go with him too. So yeah, those are both things to think about if you're getting your rats neutered and they're going to be at the vets for a long period of time. Make sure they have a water source and a food source because the vets don't always provide those things. Most likely he is going to stay in the carrier after his surgery. He's not going to be in a separate enclosure or anything, so make sure he's got everything that he needs to go with him, or her if you're getting your rats spayed. Just check with your vets and ask them what you need to take with you. Most likely though it is going to be water and food and obviously a carrier. Good morning. Are you ready? Ready? Oh, good boy. Come on then. Let's go. Say bye-bye, Humbug. What's this look? Yeah, some snacks. Good boy. Okay, so here's the plan. This is his hospital cage. He's going to be in this whilst he recovers in the early stages after his surgery. You want to try to have a cage that's relatively low down because you don't want them climbing and injuring themselves and straining their stitches. So he's going to be in this, and I think I am going to put Humbug in with him. So in the past I did have Badger and Moose neutered and they were living together when they were neutered, so I did decide to keep them together because they never showed any aggression towards each other. It was just other rats. Obviously Crumble and Humbug's situation is a lot different. He has shown aggression towards Humbug, but ideally in this situation I don't want him to have to be by himself for about 6 weeks. I know because they do have aggression issues you do sometimes have to house them by themselves, but I think initially I am going to try just to keep him with Humbug and just see how they go. The only risk with this is they can have a surge of hormones a week to 2 weeks after they've been neutered, so I am going to be keeping a very close eye on them, and if he shows any signs of trying to attack him I will have to unfortunately take him out and house them separately just for the time being and then introduce Humbug to the babies. But For now, I think the best decision for him and the best decision for me is going to be to try to keep them together, just so he's not too lonely by himself. So as you can see, I've just put some bedding in here for him. I have actually decided to go with the paper-based bedding, so the Breeder Select or the Back to Nature. I have decided to go with this rather than the hemp bedding because the hemp is quite sharp. I don't want that getting stuck in his wound or poking the wound, so this is a lot softer and this is going to be a lot better for him in terms of recovery. So I do actually have a nice cardboard box in my car that I think I'm going to give them to sleep in. Obviously in the early stages you don't want him straining his stitches, so I don't think we're going to add too much into here in the first couple of days, just to make sure he's not climbing too much. But then obviously I will add in a hammock and other things for them just to keep them entertained. I will probably put some foraging toys in just to make sure they're not too bored, but he's not going to be in this for too long. I will also be giving him a small ceramic bowl of water just so he has the choice. I will also attach his water bottle onto the side, but giving them a water bowl is a really good idea if you don't already provide that for your rats, especially after they've been neutered, because again you don't want them straining, stretching, trying to reach a water bottle. If they're feeling particularly uncomfortable, giving them a water bowl is a much easier option for them to get their water from. So yeah, all we have to do now is just wait for the vets to call and give us an update, and of course keep Humbug company too. Hi buddy. Good boy. Hi. Welcome home. He's still so out of it. Crumble. I know. It's the worst day ever. It's the worst day ever. Mummy's here. Good boy. It's okay. Can I have a quick look? Good boy. It's very neat. Good boy. Come on then. Good boy. Shall we see if maybe you want Humbug with you? Possibly? Okay, do you want your medicine, Crumble? How would you like it? So this is just Metacam. It's a pain relief medication just to make sure he's not in pain after his surgery and just to make sure he doesn't touch his stitches. And all I have to do is give him this once a day, and she's already drawn it all out into the doses. So I think what I'm going to do is mix it with some malt paste because that's his favourite. Hello guys, so it's been about a week now since he was neutered. Today is Thursday and he was neutered last Friday, so it's about time to give you an update on how it went and how he's doing now. So as far as I know, the whole operation went quite smoothly. He was one of the last rats to be neutered, or the last animals to have a surgery that day, so when I brought him home it was about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and he was still very, very drowsy. He wasn't very responsive to me talking to him or touching him, which makes a change because as soon as I come in here, I'm sorry if you can hear the babies fighting, as soon as I came in here, he's usually right at the door, wanting my attention, so having a very unresponsive Crumble was very different. But the most important thing when it comes to any kind of surgery with rats is making sure once they're home and once they're a bit more alert, is making sure that they're eating, drinking, going to the toilet, and most importantly not bothering their wounds. So yeah, the next couple of days were pretty straightforward. He's very good at taking his medication. Mixing it in with milk paste or baby food is pretty much the method I swear by, so he's been very good at taking his medication. He's not been reluctant any time to take it, so that's been easy. Also, the hardest thing I'd say with him is trying to contain him into a small space. Obviously you have to have them in a hospital cage and they can't climb, and climbing is one of Crumble's favourite things to do. He likes to climb on my reptile rack and knock things off, and he's not allowed to do that, so it's been really hard. Obviously you can't explain to him why he's not allowed to do things anymore, so containing him and making sure he's not straining himself or hurting his stitches has definitely been the hardest thing so far. Also, I think I did touch on this previously in the video, but yes, I did decide to keep him with Humbug. I don't recommend doing this if you're neutering a rat that's very aggressive to other rats. If they're injuring other rats and biting them and making them bleed right before you get them neutered. Obviously Crumble did that initially, but it kind of slowed down a bit. He's not injuring him, or wasn't injuring him before the surgery, so I really don't recommend doing that with rats that are very aggressive towards their cage mates, or if they do have a cage mate they're more fond of and they don't injure, put them in with them. But I did make the decision to keep him with Humbug because the last thing I wanted was him becoming depressed, withdrawn and bored. If he's bored, he's more likely to kind of pick at his stitches and bother his wounds, so I did make the decision to keep him with Humbug, and I do think that was the right decision for him. So yeah, mostly they've been doing fine. They've had a couple of arguments or bickering over food, but they've not had a big fight or anything, which is good. I have been watching them very closely. It's more been Humbug picking on Crumble, which is annoying, but I think that's because he's finally realised he can get his own back on him, so they're doing okay together. Humbug as well has been a bit frustrated being in a smaller cage, but I know in the long term this is going to pay off, and they don't know that right now, but they will know eventually. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's happened within the week that I need to update you on. I have actually put them back into this section of the cage. It's very limited. There's nothing they can climb on. Obviously he can't climb on the bars, and that's very difficult to keep him still, but I have decided to move them back into this section. It's not too much bigger than the cage they were in, but it's just a lot easier for me in terms of access to this cage and to these boys above, rather than having a cage on the floor because I don't have much space. But I'm giving them a little bit more space just to prevent them from being too frustrated, and so far it's been okay. Also, throughout the week I have had a couple of frequently asked questions, whether you've not seen my video talking about neutering rats or whether you have to neuter rats, but some people have been asking whether they have to neuter their male rats as soon as they get them, and no, you don't have to do this. This is just me neutering him because he is hormonally aggressive. Maybe you missed the video where I talk about how aggressive he was to Humbug in the past, but no, if your rats don't have any signs of behavioural issues or aggression issues and they're not seriously harming other rats or you, then no, you don't have to neuter them. I've also had a lot of questions about when they're going to meet the babies, or when Humbug is going to meet the babies. That plan's been soiled a little bit because obviously it takes a while for his hormones to die down. It's going to be about 5 more weeks until I even consider introducing them to the new boys, so of course I will film that when it happens, but that's not going to be for a while yet. So yeah, that's where we're at. A little update on how Humbug is doing today. He does actually have quite a lot of swelling on his abdomen. The wound has a little bit of separation, but we're not worried about that too much. I'm also worried about the swelling. He has like a hard, not so much a lump, but when you touch it, it's very solid. So I'm a bit worried that he has some sort of internal infection or pus or an abscess in there, so we are actually taking him back to the vets today. I'll also just try to grab him quickly and give you a little bit of a close-up of what it's looking like, just in case for science purposes, if you've also neutered your rats or you're going to neuter them in the future, just to know what kind of things to look out for, if there's any changes in the wound, if there's any pus or bleeding, or if you think they've moved their stitches. Just ring your vets up, ask them, send them pictures, take them back in just to make sure, because it's a big thing. They've had a surgery. You want to make sure that everything's okay and there's nothing going wrong internally or externally. Hey buddy. The last time you were here, something very bad happened, didn't it? We're not taking any more body parts today. No, I promise. Good boy. Okay, so we are back from the vets, and he does have an abscess internally where he was neutered. It's not uncommon for this to happen. It can happen sometimes, more so when they're neutered. She said when they go through the actual balls and the abdomen, so she was quite surprised that he had an abscess with the way that she's neutered him, but he does have one, and she drained a little bit of the abscess and quite a lot of pus came out. I don't think she got all of it, but she has prescribed him some antibiotics, which we have here. So they are in tablet form. I've never actually had to give my rats tablets in any form, so that should be interesting, but he is going to be on antibiotics for however long, and then I also have to take him back in a week for another checkup. So at this point I'm living at the vet's. We're going every single week now, which is fun, but yeah, I think he'll be fine. Okay, so I thought I'd show you how I give him his tablets, because it is a bit different to using normal medication. These tablets are made for dogs, so they're quite big, but he has a quarter of this in the morning and a quarter at night time, so I do have to split them. Did I ever think I'd be cutting up tablets on my channel? No, but I'm going to show you how to do it anyway, because there's probably a better way to do this. I'll just use a spoon to kind of chop the tablet. So it is the tiniest amount. Obviously that's still a bit big for him, so you do want to try to crush this down. I know you can get things like pill crushers, but all I do is get 2 spoons, use the back of this spoon, and then crush the tablets together. Okay, that'll do. He's not too bothered about it being lumpy. He's pretty excited when it comes to taking his medication, which is good. But all I'm going to do again is mix it with some milk paste, and that's been working really well. He honestly doesn't know there's a tablet in there, which is good. No, Humbug. No, not for you. Sorry, not for you. So I think he's actually going to be pretty disappointed when he doesn't have to have medication twice a day, because he really enjoys it. Is that nice? Make sure you get it all. Okay, so it's now been 2.5 weeks since he was neutered, and this video is already getting super long, so I think I might end this one here. I might give you another update in a future vlog or something, because we've not made too much progress with his abscess, and I don't really have too much else to update you on. Unfortunately, his abscess did not shift with the antibiotics. I wasn't really expecting it to. I think it does need draining again. He was supposed to go back to the vets last Friday, but they couldn't fit him in, so he's going back this Friday, hopefully to get it drained, to get it sorted out. But I have now found a second abscess in his ball area, so I just feel really frustrated and really sad for him that he's having to go through all this. But please do not let this put you off getting your rats neutered. If they have to be neutered, they have to be neutered. Complications like this aren't super common. They can of course happen, but they're fairly easy to deal with normally, and you shouldn't allow this to put you off. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the process of having a rat neutered. Obviously it did not go as planned, but this is the reality of getting them neutered. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing a bit more of an insight into that, and fingers crossed his abscess clears up soon, and the second abscess that I found, and then he can be introduced to his new friends hopefully very soon. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Don't forget to subscribe. Hopefully in the next video we'll have a more positive update with his abscess, so look out for that video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!